All right, we're going to go fishing this week on the Sports News. I'm not fishing for compliments. We're actually going to fish for real live fish. We're going to talk with Scott King. We're going to talk some lacrosse, some baseball, and much more. But the headlines coming up next, they are powered by Conant Automotive in Stoughton and, of course, the Red Zone over on Regent Street. Stick around. Full show, the Sports News, next on 57 Sports. All right, time now for the headlines. You're looking to the tackles, hits, checks, and dunks that make up the local sports scene. I am Rich Reynolds, and let's hit the ground running. You know, my Facebook feed virtually exploded recently with friends who attended the U2 concert in Soldier Field. Kind of made me feel like I was the only one in a 500-mile radius who wasn't there. It also made me start to think about classic rock bands who sounded great in an open-air stadium. Now, perhaps one of the best was Queen. Now, I bring all of this up because it would almost be apropos to be playing We Are the Champions underneath this report. That's because champions, some of whom have actually graced this very program, were crowned on Saturday in lacrosse at the WIAA State Track and Field Meet. And let's run down our local list that's worthy of some Freddie Mercury vocals. In D1, Verona's Jack Herkert won the high jump. It was L.O. Johnson of Wanakee pulling away in the 100-meter dash, while Nathan Farrell of Janesville Crank was victorious in the 1,600-meter run. Also, Finn Gessner of La Follette broke the tape in the 3,200 meters. In Division II, junior Ben Dunkelberger of Lake Mills set the state record in the triple jump, while also winning state in the long jump. And a soon-to-be Wisconsin Badger, Josh Seltzner of Columbus, won the shot put while receiving an impromptu parade courtesy of the Columbus Fire Department upon his return home. I would know, as it all transpired about 100 feet from our deck. My ears are still ringing. D1 girls saw Josie Schaefer of Baraboo. She was a two-time winner, taking shot put and discus. And Ava Lawn Smith of Beloit Memorial won the triple jump. Division II saw Jordan Hurstbrunner of Monroe take the 100-meter hurdles as well as the 300s. Now you can click on our featured sites to find out the rest of the results from lacrosse. And if you went to the Madison Radicals game on Saturday at Breese Stevens Field, you were part of a sellout crowd and saw something you hadn't seen in 4 years. Yes, the Radicals lost a regular season game at home. Shocking, yes, but if you're gonna falter, at least do it against the best. The Rads lost to the AUDL defending champion Dallas Roughnecks 23-17. Next up for the Rads, another tough test as they take to the road at the undefeated Minnesota Wind Chill. Well, for more information on our headlines and all the 411, check out these fine, non-fake news websites. Stick around. We have more interviews than anyone else next here on the Sports News on Wisconsin's 57 Sports. Beautiful time of year right now to get out to the lakes, the river, whatever body of water you want. Cast a line into the water and pick out some fish. And here to help us with that right now is Scott King. He is the owner of Sauk Prairie Live Bait and Tackle, who is with us right now to talk a little fishing. So welcome on in, Scott, and let's jump right in and talk a little fishing and say, hey, if I'm going to be fishing around the Sauk Prairie area, the Baraboo area, somewhere around there, why should I start my fishing trip at Sauk Prairie Live Bait and Tackle?
Well, Sauk Prairie Live Bait and Tackle is what I would call a niche bait and tackle. We carry a lot of the same things that the big box stores will do, Walmart and Cabela's, but we try and focus on having a lot of variety rather than the same old, same old. We have a lot of niche homemade products. An example of that would be the Wolf Big Dude blade lure. It's great for all kinds of fish, every species. We have it in sizes from 1/32 ounce all the way up to half ounce in about 70 different colors. And that, you won't find that in most big box stores around the country. And it's our best-selling lure.
Excellent. And it's good to have like that niche and something different. Everybody can find something at, the big box stores, but something that they don't have. And it's great that you have that. Now, if I'm heading out, what kind of area, what bodies of water do you mostly serve?
So the Sauk Prairie area serves mostly the Wisconsin River, Lower Wisconsin Riverway, all the way down to Prairie du Chien. And also Lake Wisconsin is one of our greatest fisheries. If you're looking for panfish, one of the best two in the area are Crystal Lake and Fish Lake. A lot of shore fishing available there. And one of my favorites is Devil's Lake. If you're really into trout, that's a great place to go.
Yeah, you would think with a name like Fish Lake, that'd be a good place to fish. What are some of the fish that the fishermen are specifically targeting, and how do you help with that?
So one of our best and most popular fishing species is walleye and sauger. They'll spawn in late February, early March in the Wisconsin River, end up on Lake Wisconsin. And a lot of fishermen will come and stay in local campgrounds and fish from shore, from the dam, all the way down to the old railroad bridge. Some of the best things for walleye are night crawlers and minnows, but we also have curltails and jig heads and hair jigs and all kinds of equipment that will make your walleye fishing very enjoyable.
Excellent. So from walleye, bass, panfish, you're talking about trout and Devil's Lake, all good stuff. Started off at Sauk Prairie Live Bait and Tackle. Scott, thanks for joining us. Good fishing out there.
Thank you.
You know, when I hear the word lacrosse, the first thing I think of is a city in Wisconsin on the Mississippi River, the bluffs. It's beautiful, it's great. The second thing I think of is a fast action sport that we've been covering a lot here on the Sports News. We're going to talk Stoughton Lacrosse right now as we bring in the head coach Josh Willeen and also Luke Geister-Jones. And guys, let's jump right into it. And with Luke, you know, I've always wondered this about guys that play lacrosse. I get it, you know, in baseball, you start off in t-ball and it progresses. How did you get involved in a sport like lacrosse?
So I started lacrosse when a teammate of mine went down with a sprained ankle. The night it happened, I was joking around. I said I'd come play. And then the morning of the game, I got picked up at about 8:30 by another teammate, and I used the other guy's stuff, and I played my first lacrosse game.
Excellent. And so now that you jumped in, you know, one of the things you usually want to do when you're in a sport is set some goals and keep accomplishing things as you go along. What goals are you still looking to accomplish?
So the team goals are always to win a state championship and a conference championship, and my individual goals are to win an all-conference award or an all-state award.
Yeah, good stuff, and you always want to aim high. So, you know, as far as making or playing lacrosse, what do you think makes it different or unique compared to other sports that you might play?
I think what makes lacrosse so unique is it is a combination of other sports. A lot of other sports are very specific, but lacrosse kind of combines the physicality of football or ice hockey with the technique of basketball.
Yeah, I hear that a lot, especially the skill set very similar and what you got to do with your hands and moving the stick around. I see that in hockey all the time. There's so much that's involved. So as far as lacrosse goes in your career of so far playing it, what's been your favorite memory?
My favorite memory so far has been winning the conference title last year and going to state.
Cool. And now, Coach, let's direct it over to you. Let's talk about this team a little bit and what they have done specifically and what has been different about this team than last year's team.
Oh, well, I can definitely see the chemistry in this team is a lot better. These guys have been playing together for many years. They've been playing for years before youth, which is a lot different than when I first started coaching, where we taught a lot of catching and passing, and it's nice to have guys that knew how to do that coming into high school, so we can get into a lot more advanced stuff and really raise their lacrosse IQ.
Absolutely, and you've been coaching now for 6 years over at Stoughton. How have you seen this sport kind of grow in the area and progress?
Well, just growth alone, number of teams is growing every year. On the boys' side, back when I started, I think we had maybe about 35 teams, and we're over 40 now. We're growing every single year. And on the girls' side, it's growing twice as fast as the boys right now. I think they had about 15 teams when I started, and now that we're over about 25.
Wow.
So we're growing really fast, and hopefully we keep that growing just as fast so we can be a WIA sport real soon. And it's a lot different to play style too. A lot more advanced play compared to what it was a few years back.
Great stuff, yeah. Yeah, Coach, good to hear. We're out of time. Josh, Luke, thanks for joining us here in the Sports News.
Thank you.
A special thank you to Conan Automotive in Stoughton for supporting local athletics.
All right, Jeb Simmons is back with us from CrossFit Fort Atkinson, becoming kind of a regular here on the program. I always like that. And I also like the fact that we're talking about a topic that is good and healthy, and that's always a great thing. So Jeb, welcome back into the program. And for those that aren't familiar with it, what exactly is CrossFit?
CrossFit is constantly varied movements done basically against the clock. So everything we do is against time. But it covers everything from weightlifting to running, body weight movements, climbing ropes. We kind of just mash it all together and make workouts out of them.
I think people always wonder too, what's the impact of a workout going to be on me? How does CrossFit impact your body, mind, and lifestyle?
It's huge. I mean, we really focus on, obviously you're going to get your workout in, but we like to focus too on the nutrition aspect with our members, and also the mental toughness. That's a big one. You know, when you're working out, you know, can you run a mile? We've got a lot of people that don't even think they can do that. And as coach, like, we really get in, we're passionate about getting the mental toughness for people to be able to handle that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the nutritional aspect's so huge. Also too, I think people kind of wonder, okay, CrossFit, am I going to be out on my own? Is this an individual thing, or is this a class thing that you guys do?
Everything we do is class-based. Roughly, we'll have anywhere from 15 to 20 people in a class, and people enjoy that a lot more. Holds them more accountable, and they're not going through the workouts by themselves, and that's what people like. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think class-based, and I know it works for me a lot too. I know sometimes too, in a new sport or a new kind of a workout, sometimes women can be very intimidated by that as well. I mean, do you offer something for the ladies?
We do. We offer 6-week challenges about 3-4 times a year, and the ladies really love it. They get together, and it's just them working out together with the coaches, and they seem to enjoy it a lot more than just kind of coming into a regular class. They like to get into the 6-week challenge. It kind of introduces them to CrossFit.
Now, what about someone who maybe was an athlete in high school or was in the Army, was in good shape, and then got out of shape over the years? The pizza, the beer, it all kinds of, adds up. What if they haven't worked out in 30 years? Can they join?
Yes, absolutely. I would say that's probably the biggest type of member we have. Someone that played sports in high school, or they were in shape at one time is what I hear all the time, and they want to get back in shape. So yeah, definitely that's probably the biggest type of member that we have at our gym.
Excellent stuff. That's always a good motivator, I think, for a lot of people. So check it out, CrossFit Fort Atkinson. Jeb, thank you as always.
Thank you.
Whenever I think of rock climbing, being the old guy that I am, I'm reminded of a classic Seinfeld episode where it's Kramer and George trying to pass sandwiches down to Tony and he falls and all that. I'm sure rock climbing, there's a lot more to that. And in that spirit, we'll bring in Keith Kobisa and he'll tell us more about it. He's with Summit Strength and Fitness. And Keith, thanks for joining us. And if you could, try to explain to everybody what makes rock climbing such a unique sport.
It's really, it is a big physical challenge. You have to use your whole body. It's not just about pulling yourself up the wall, but it's also a huge mental challenge. Keeping yourself on the wall, and there's a lot to think about, a lot that can get in the way of your mind.
Yeah, I would, it's one of those sports where definitely it could play mind games on you. And so that's something that you would have to learn as you go along, and something hopefully you guys will be able to teach. And as far as the significance of Summit Strength and Fitness, what is that in regards to the growth of the sport?
So climbing is going to be in the Olympics in 2020. So there's a lot of people getting interested in what's climbing all about, since it's going to be in the Olympics. And so at Summit, we're taking it and treating it like any other sport. It's used to be so individualized where you would just kind of go leisurely climb. But our facility, we're treating climbing like a sport, whereas you're coming in to practice and train just like you would if you were on a collegiate football team, very structured to our approach to climbing.
So obviously it's a competitive sport, and then how do they judge it? Is that just on time alone? Is it judged? How does that work?
Each discipline is a little bit different, but the main focus, what we're focusing on is called the discipline called bouldering, which you're climbing without ropes. You're not going that high, and that's based on difficulty. So there's set routes, set problems, we call them, and it's based basically whoever can climb the hardest problems.
Now, is Summit Strength and Fitness a place where only rock climbers are going to go, or can anybody get involved?
No, we welcome anyone, all athletes, all non-athletes, anyone that just wants to get in shape. We take other athletes and maybe put them on the wall sometimes to challenge them in a different physical way. We just use the wall as a different tool, a fitness tool for people to stay in shape and enjoy themselves while doing so.
Now, for those that are getting into rock climbing, where could they go, do you think, outside of the gym to further their skills?
Yeah, so just north of us is Devil's Lake. It's about a 45-minute drive, and that has some of the best outdoor rock climbing in the Midwest. And as much as I love the gym, because I created it, I also love getting outside, and I encourage all my clients to get out there and climb and take what they learned in our controlled environment and bring it to the real rock and enjoy nature.
Absolutely, and a beautiful place to go. We got about 15 seconds left. Is the sport gaining in popularity, Keith?
Yeah, there's been a bunch of big events that have been happening at Devil's Lake, bringing people in from all over the country to check out the sport.
Cool stuff. Check it out. Keith with Summit Strength and Fitness. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Brought to you by Conan Automotive, taking care of you by taking care of your family's car.
It was only a few months ago. Yeah, you know who you are. You made that New Year's resolution, said I'm going to stay active, get in shape, do all of that. And that's kind of come and gone. And so now what we want to do is get you moving again, get in shape. And along those lines, what we're going to do is bring in right now Dirk Gessler, and he is the owner at CrossFit Recursive. And Dirk, thanks for coming on to the program. And let's talk a little bit about CrossFit and your business and how you can help get people active again.
Great. So what we like to do is bring people in and get them having fun in the workout. Because if you're not having fun, it's going to be hard to keep doing it, right? It's going to be hard to stick with it. So we get them in, we have fun with the workouts. We work hard, but we move on and get the rest of our day going.
Yeah, and how much better it is to get in shape when you actually are having fun. So as far as what CrossFit will do, and I'm not sure everybody knows exactly what CrossFit is. If I decided, hey, I'm going to go to your gym, what would CrossFit do for me?
CrossFit is going to, like I said, it's going to get you moving. You do a lot of different movements. You're always learning new skills, perfecting skills, which definitely helps with the, coming back and keep doing it. And very shortly after you start, you're gonna, feel better, sleep better, less stress. It all works together.
Yeah, all good stuff. And if I participate in another sport, how can CrossFit help me get better at that sport?
CrossFit's great as a general physical preparedness. So, you work on your sport, you focus on one movement a lot, and then that can lead to injury, where CrossFit gets you moving across all the planes of movement, so injury prevention, strengthens joints and bones, things like that.
Yeah, my son and I actually talk about it all the time. And if we're watching baseball, they're used to doing these one movements. Anything out of the ordinary, they seem to get hurt a lot.
Correct.
And it seems like CrossFit could definitely help with that. As far as actually doing CrossFit, what are the risks of injuries, or are there general risks to it?
There's general risks to anything, right? Like, people get hurt playing basketball down at the court at the park all the time. But, we have highly trained coaches that are always there watching to make sure that you're not getting injured. Because, if you're injured, you can't work out, and that's not going to help, right? That doesn't help anybody.
Absolutely. Now, this summer in Madison, the CrossFit Games are coming. What's that all about?
It's this massive competition. CrossFit tries to find the fittest on earth. That's their tagline. So they'll bring in hundreds of athletes, and they'll all compete over 6 days, kind of down to a winner at the end. So it's a lot of fun to watch, actually.
I think it ends up televised and stuff like that,
Yes,
and hopefully we'll have some highlights and pictures in our headlines to show you as well. So, okay, this all sounds good. It's going to be fun, going to get in shape, reduce injury, help me with other sports. How do I get started, Dirk?
Just call the number at the bottom of the screen, and we'll set up a no-sweat intro, bring you in, we'll sit down, we'll talk about your goals, what you want, where you want to go, and we'll find the right way to get you there.
And the intro is going to be the only thing that's no sweat, hopefully. So, good stuff. Dirk, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
A special thank you to Conan Automotive in Stoughton for supporting local athletics.
Welcome back to the Sports News. I'm Stacey Hansen, sitting in for Rich Reynolds for just a second. I'm now with Coach Gary Close. Gary, thanks for coming back on the show. So fill us in on what's happened since you were last here.
Well, I appreciate it, Stacey. We've been doing our shooting and instructional clinics that started in April, and they're winding down. We'll go through the first week in June, but I've had great response. We're doing a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights. A few are still open. There's some that are sold out, but we've worked a lot on shooting, some ball handling, some individual instruction, and probably had close to 100 kids come through, so it's been a lot of fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun and a lot of kids working on their skills. So tell us a little bit about the clinics you've got coming up here for people.
Well, we've got our camps going to be in July, July 10th through the 13th, and there'll be 2 camps. One will be a youth camp in the morning from 9 to 12. We'll do a little bit of everything, probably more shooting than in some traditional camps, but there'll also be some other fundamental instruction. We'll have some contests. We'll put everybody on a team, and we'll play games throughout the week and have a championship day of the last day, so it's a lot of fun. And then in the afternoon, we do our shooting camp from 1 to 3 o'clock, and that's basically all shooting. We do a lot of drills working on technique and try to build the shot, and we have found with 4 days of 2 hours a day, we can get a lot done in that short period of time. Now that camp is sold out. We're pleased to say that, but we are taking a waiting list. We're trying to see if we can get a little more gym space to expand the numbers. Maybe some people will cancel, so people can still get on the waiting list for that camp, but that has been sold out. And then I'm excited. I'll be doing a camp with Zach Showalter in June. I think it's June 21st, I believe, a Thursday, up at the Wisconsin Dells. It'll be an all-day camp, I think 3rd through 9th grade. So Zach was a terrific Badger, and it'll be a lot of fun to work with him.
Yeah, that's very exciting to have that camp with him. Now, if you've got kids out there looking to maybe get a little bit better at some of their shots and things, what are some things you can suggest to them, or how can they get signed up with you?
Well, I think the summer is the time when you really can improve, and it's where you can make some tweaks in your shot. Once you get into the season, you really kind of got to go what you want. The shooting camp will be great, and we're looking to expand that. Hopefully, we'll do a lot of shooting up at the camp with Zach in June at the Dells. I'm also doing some shooting clinics in Dells on Sunday evenings. We've got one more left on June 4th, and actually Zach will be there for that as well. So it's been a busy spring and summer, and it's been a lot of fun watching kids get better.
Yeah, exciting stuff. So cool. Well, thanks so much, Gary, for coming back on.
Thanks, Stacy.
A special thank you to Conan Automotive in Stoughton for supporting local athletics.
All right, a big thank you to all of the guests that came on the program today. Thank you to Ellen Barrett as well. Good stuff on her interview. And also a thank you to all of our sponsors, including the Red Zone over on Regent Street and Conan Automotive in Stoughton. We'll see you next time on the Sports News on Wisconsin's 57 Sports.